Well, hello everybody. It's Coach Joe and
Coach Dean.
And we're someplace very special today.
We are.
I don't. Do we have a name for this yet?
We do.
We do.
We do.
For those that watch the show regularly, we always have a name for where we are. Where are we today?
You know, usually it's like Runner's Berm and Runner's Park or whatever. But here we're at Runner's World.
I didn't think you would go there. Runner's World is a trademark of what? No.
Of a different.
Put that on the bottom of the screen.
Yeah,
no.
exactly. That's a
no,
disclaimer.
we really are.
We are.
So.
We are at the World Masters Track and Field Championships at WMAs.
Yep.
And it's being held in Sacramento, California. And literally, the world is here. It's exciting to see. In fact, right behind our camera right now, we have a woman from Austria warming up.
Yep.
Just had somebody from Italy walking behind us and somebody from Germany over on the other side.
Yep.
Literally, world track and field athletes.
Yeah.
Masters athletes are here.
5,000 people are here. About 1,900 from the United States, since we're the home field advantage, I guess, in terms of travel.
Right.
But you know, being here, just getting here yesterday, I was shocked at the number of languages you're hearing. It's really interesting. So our topic today is we're just gonna explore what this whole World Masters Athletics thing is that we're doing here in Sacramento, and it's gonna be a fun couple weeks.
It will be.
Yeah.
So I thought, why don't we start from the high level, which is where we are today,
Right.
and then let's get back to you out there, and how did you even get here, and what are the things locally that you can do that might get you here?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, maybe just a little bit more on kind of what these events are like.
Yes.
Again, this runs for almost 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah, it's about 12 days
12
straight
days.
of competition.
And a big part of that is that they run everything in age groups.
Correct.
So you don't have one 5,000 meter. You have it from everything, men's and women's, from as high as 90, I think I've seen as high as 90 years old,
down to 35.
down every 5 years.
Yep.
So it takes a long time. I think my event was number like 600 or 601.
Yeah.
And the event program was 90 pages long.
Yeah.
Something. It's really an extensive track meet, and on 3 tracks.
That's true.
Plus,
Like 3
plus
different.
cross country.
That's right.
Plus cross country and a marathon.
Yep.
Race walking out on the. Doing road race walking or just track?
It's on the track.
Track.
Yep.
So yeah, really the full scope is here. It's really like the Olympics, the track part of the Olympics anyway, but with different standards to get in.
That's correct.
So let's
start with the most basic, which is 5-year increments.
Right.
So in track and field, now in road racing, 40 is considered masters.
Yep.
Track and field, the international standard is 35 plus.
Mm-hmm.
So what's interesting there is we have some 35-year-olds that are actually making the real Olympics.
Right.
That could feasibly compete here, but they don't.
Thankfully.
It's 5-year increments, so 35 to 39, 40 to 44, 45 to 49, etc. Male, female, and virtually every race, other than some of the more small races, will run solely against your age group. So if I'm in a 5,000, I will race specifically against 50 to 59-year-olds. In fact, my race, there's 36 or 38 entered in that age group for the 5,000. They actually have 2 heats.
Right.
So it's nice. I'm not running against 40-year-olds, and 70-year-olds aren't running against 50-year-olds.
Right.
So that's something kind of interesting about the age grouping.
It makes a huge difference as you get older, right? People are getting slower
Like you.
naturally. Yes, that's me. Actually, I'm feeling very young and spry at this event because, as I was just going to get to, there are people here that I believe the oldest competitor was over 100 years old, and you know. These folks are in great shape.
Oh yes.
I mean, great shape. But even so, if you're 80 years old, you don't want to be running against 40-year-olds. It's just not feasible.
Just not fair.
And yeah, it's not fair. And it's so interesting to see. I watched the 5,000s last night, the women's 5,000s, and each age group, as they move down, they start oldest to youngest. Got faster and faster and faster, and as I'm looking through the pictures, you see the differences in the body shapes and things. Yeah. It's really obvious why they do it.
Yeah, it's pretty dramatic, and that's just part of aging. We just have to accept that they're in great condition for their age.
Exactly.
Make that clear, and that's why they compete against their age. But it is every age group that got faster and faster, and anyone who placed in the top 3 medaled in, let's say, the 50 to 55s. Would not place in the next age group down.
No.
They were just that much faster.
Yeah, and it's strategically, I think, makes a huge difference, right?
Yes.
Because you know what your competition is doing in your age group.
Right.
Now, sometimes there's heats, like
Yes.
like you have 2 heats, I have 2 heats. How does that work? Or what if somebody in one of the, do they take the fastest time over for both heats?
That's
when it's
interesting.
finals?
In the distance events, it's 2 heats and they're called final heats. Therefore, they'll have a slow heat, which let's say there's 32 runners. The slowest 16 will be in that first heat, and they'll race. Then they'll take the fastest 16, at least by their submitted times, and they'll run. Typically, your medalists will come out of that heat, but at the end they take the 2 heats, they combine all the times, and only then do you know what place you came in for your event. So that's for distance events.
So what would say be the case if you had the faster heat and they were out playing cat and mouse and got strategic, and
Then someone in a slower event,
they're slower because
slower
they may not
heat-
be that much slower.
That's
is the
correct.
thing.
You could be looking at, let's just say, a minute and a half difference in a 5,000,
Right.
which is substantial. But if someone truly plays a cat and mouse game, you could lose that much time, and suddenly someone has a really good day in the slow heat. Something could happen. They could medal out of the blue.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about you used the word submitted time. I loved that because I had to fill out the forms more than 6 months ago.
And tell me, let's start there.
I took a pulled out of my lumberjack ass swag at
A time.
a time.
And where did that place you in your heat?
Well, okay, let's come back to that. But first, let's talk about these qualifying times.
Oh,
because,
okay.
Because I think that's
So
it's quite interesting. It's supposed to be your PR.
PR in
or
the past 2
past 2
years.
years,
It's your
right.
2-year best time that you get to submit. Now
Right.
think about that. In 2 years,
Yeah.
for right now, today, you might be injured, you might be getting over a cold, you may not just be in good shape. If you're from other parts of the world, it may not be your in-season.
Right.
So, though you may have set a certain time, it may not be as real that you can run that today.
Right.
So everybody
and
submits these times.
It's
and
what you think it's going to be 6 months from then, right? And like for me,
Sure.
I was projecting for it. Okay, I can do this much training, this many months. I think I'll be in this shape at that time, right?
Yeah.
But you're really guessing
Yeah.
in some ways,
Yeah.
right?
big guessing. So where did you end up?
So this is where I had debated this on the blog. There's 46 runners in our 2 heats, and I was number 23 in terms of time. So I had been debating: do I want to be in the fast heat with the top 23, or would I rather be in the slower heat with the bottom 23? Because obviously now I'm worried about getting lapped and stuff like
Big
that.
fish in a small pond, small fish in a big pond. What do you want?
And at the end of the day, I decided I would much rather be in the faster heat and get to run with
And
these
guess what?
guys.
That's where you are.
That's where they put me.
And he runs actually in about.
So my guesswork here. I wish I'd have guessed a second slower because then I might.
Then you would have gone down there. Yeah.
No, I'm really looking forward to it. Like,
And you're just about 11 hours from now for race time.
It's tonight, and that's another thing. These events they're long meets.
Yeah.
They go on for, as we said, almost a couple of weeks, but they're also all day long. Here in Sacramento, because of the temperatures, they're doing what's called a split start or a split meet schedule. So they have events in the morning and then again in the evening, and nothing in the middle of the day. It was like 104 yesterday here. The afternoon events were when they started back up again, were really hot.
It was still warm. It was 95 when they started the first 5,000.
Yeah, but right now,
Nice.
gorgeous
this morning.
out this morning. And this is what would be. I'd love to have been running this morning. Originally, my event was scheduled for this morning. Somehow it ended up at 8 p.m. And if they're running behind, it might be later. So it'll be like hood to coast. We'll put headlights on.
Here we go.
No, you
Running
don't
under
have to do
lights.
that on the track.
This is at the world class level. This event is held every 2 years.
Yeah.
It rotates around the world. I think last time was in Italy. Time before that might have been in Finland. And right now, looking at 2013, it's going to be down in Brazil. And in 2015, it hasn't been voted on yet, but it's either going to be in somewhere in, I believe, Poland, or they're looking at Lyon, France, which is where my vote is.
And I think Perth.
In Perth, Australia, that's correct.
They had at the vendor or the fair yesterday. People were campaigning to get the spots, just like they do with the Olympics.
Yep.
Although on maybe a slightly smaller level.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're trying to get it for 2015.
Right.
And there's an indoor championship too. I noticed there's
alternate years.
Alternate years.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting.
Right. So one of the things would be, how do you qualify for this?
Exactly.
And really the answer is you don't.
Yeah.
This is not quite like the Olympics where you're sending Olympic teams. You have your times, and believe it or not, really there isn't any real cutoff here.
Right.
And we see that there are some people that are more novice in their performances than some of the more advanced athletes. And you got to remember, at this level, for those who know, I mean, we have people like Willie Gault, who's a former world-class sprinter from in the late 70s, early 80s or so, played football. He represents the U.S. He's on our U.S. sprint team.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of caliber of people you get here.
Yeah.
So there's no real qualifying. However, once you submit and you're going to be on the team and you're considered we're a part of the USA team, you do have to wear all the official USA uniform stuff, and that is a requirement, or you cannot even get on the field to play.
Right.
So there's requirements once you are part of a national team.
Yep.
You have to then play the game. You can't use your own club uniform, for instance, or anything like that.
Yep, we are dressed in the I think it's the 2008 Olympics official uniforms that the track and field athletes had. They made those available to us. Very cool.
Yeah.
Fun to the patriotism is running high, especially because it was July 4th a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
So we're if you could see, Dean can see.
Painted toenails.
Well, one toenail.
With
I'll show you a picture. One toenail with the American flag on each foot. Sorry.
Very well done.
Yeah, I got my little American flags on the toes. Yeah. So we're excited. We're here. We're gonna do a few more episodes of the show and talk about some things. But we're just really glad to share a little bit more about this event with you, and we will come back with more from Sacramento on our next episode. So thanks for joining us.